I remember I was like maybe 6 or 7. Field trip for for elementary school, and it was a circus, and I've never been to a circus before. And we're sitting there, and everything's cool. This show's starting. I'm having a good time. Elephants are popping up, and there's the ring right there. And all of a sudden, I feel a tap on my shoulder, and it's a fucking clown, dude. And it's like, I've seen him before on TV, and Bozo the Clown and all that bullshit. Not a big deal. But the fucking clown in my face, tapping me on the shoulder, and he does this weird, like, ooh. Freaked me the fuck out. Ever since then, I just get very, when I see a clown. It tenses me up. It just brings me back to that moment of startlement initially, and yeah, I just fucking hate clowns for that reason, and I'm not a fan. Just fucking clowns. Just disgusting. Yeah, so, they're in everything now. You go fucking to the grocery store, you go, you turn on the TV show, there's a clown in every fucking thing, and yeah, so it just fucking freaks me out, man. Now that I'm older, knowing about John Wayne Casey and seeing American Horror Story, and then, fucking Captain Spaulding and, shit like that, fucking Terrifier, that shit doesn't help. So, I'm a little older, I'm a little more understanding, but clowns hold that special place in my heart for that reason.
That was Cesar Leon telling us about his first run-in with a clown. And as you can guess, what our show's going to be about, we're going to be clowning around here on this episode. I am your host, the Boogeyman, Johnny Zuko, along with my co-host.
Hey everyone, Ginger Snap here, coming at you via Skype.
Because some asshole had a little too much fun over Labor Day weekend and couldn't bother to drag her ass over here to the studio, so... Yeah. But no, today's topic is clowns, and, with the anticipation of It Chapter 2 coming out this week, or be already out by the time this episode already comes out, it just kind of starts the conversation again. Like, what is it about clowns that freaks people out? Like, what is it about it? Like, where does that fear come from? Is it a logical fear? Is it something that's blown out of proportion? What?
It's a recent phobia, supposedly.
Yeah, I was looking into that, the actual phobia, and I hope I'm not butchering it, but I think it's pronounced Coulrophobia.
Coulrophobia.
And it is a more recent, they still don't really know where it comes from, but a lot of doctors, therapists and scientists thinks it stems, people that do have this phobia, it does come from their childhood. There's rarely any cases where an adult will all of a sudden have this phobia. They do think it is something that they experience as a young child, which is interesting. Well,
one of the things I wanted to touch on, too, is that the term, I think it's coulrophobia, is, if you look at the meaning of the word, it really doesn't make sense, because the meaning of the word color comes from Greek, and phobia is from Latin, and it has nothing to do with clowns, in a sense. But I also wanted to say is that it's not even they haven't even diagnosed that as an actual phobia. It's not even listed in in the terms of phobias. It's not a real phobia that they have clinically diagnosed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So people are thinking, oh, is this real or is not? Because if you look up in medical terms, it's not in there.
Right. It is interesting, and I don't know why it's not like an official phobia though, because a lot of people do have like there are severe cases where a lot of them have to seek therapy.
I think probably because it's fairly new, and it's also predominantly here in the States, and so what I read is they're making a connection with clown movies and, you know, scary clown movies and things like that that are more popular.
So, according to a private psychologist, Dr. Melanie Phelps, and she recently spoke to The Sun about why this phenomenon exists. She explains children that are familiar with the appearance of caregivers and family members, and we see them as having a safe and friendly human face. Dr. Melanie also said clowns have unnatural, large, exaggerated, distorted features, and therefore don't match the safe, friendly human pattern we've created in our minds. We know that a clown faces are brightly colored with stark contrasts. For example, white bright lips against a very white background, with exaggerated smiles, expressions which are fixed and do not change with interaction. This triggers an unsafe, does not match alert in our primal brains, which indicates this type of face is unknown, not recognized, possibly unsafe, possibly a threat, and we cannot read the facial expression correctly as it doesn't match the actions or words of the clown. That's Dr. Melanie Phelps.
So if everybody has that response, why doesn't everybody have a phobia of clowns? That's what I want to know. So if everybody reads faces like that, why doesn't everybody feel that way?
So, according to her, these are 6 factors that can cause coulrophobia. 1. How clowns are introduced to you as a child. If parents make sure that you are smiling and laughing with the clown, they can match the pattern and laugh too, and know these distorted faces are harmless and funny and not a threat to them. 2. Individual differences. Some kids love the fun fair rides, such as ghost trains that surprise them and giggle about that, and some just get scared. 3. Age of exposure. As with horror films, some children may be too young to figure out what's really happening and is not a real threat. They may have been okay if exposed when they were a little older. The exact age depends on the child, but it is advisable to wait till they are at a stage of maturity when they are more able to figure things out themselves for a bit more easily. 4. The reaction of others around them. If kids or adults are scared, they are more likely to follow suit. 5. The general level of safety and security the child feels. If there are arguments at home and the child doesn't feel so secure, they might feel self-conscious or nervous anyway, and at around the same time, they are introduced to an unknown distorted clown face. They may be more prone to be scared or anxious. A paired response can set up clowns and fear. Therefore, later, the image of a clown or an actual clown triggers the fear again. And the last one, 6. Children are more sensitive as their nervous system develop. They are more sensitive to new smells, different tastes, different visual and auditory stimuli. The clown face and behavior may just be too overwhelming for a child at that time. So these are what she thinks are her 6 factors that, can cause, that phobia.
12%.
Yeah.
I read that like 12% of the adult population here in the U.S. or something has a fear of clowns.
So I wonder if did that stem from their childhood though?
Some of them in the stuff that I looked up, no, some of it cropped up just later as an adult.
I honestly think, and this kind of spans for our generation, we grew up at a time where, horror movies were on TV. And, one of the biggest things, and I remember very clearly as a kid, is that when we first saw it for the very first time on primetime TV at 8 o'clock on ABC, and seeing Pennywise, the dancing clown, for the very first time, I remember going to school the very next day and everyone was talking about Pennywise and how they were scared of him. And then
he was like the face of that made our generation scared of clowns, I think.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I think that he, for like a generational purpose, I think kids and that grew up in our age group, I think you can trace that lineage way back to Pennywise, to that very first TV miniseries, and I think that's what stems from it. And then it just trickles down from generation to generation, because if you're a grown up and you're still scared of clowns, and your kid sees that you're still afraid of clowns, you know, like Dr. Phelps said, the kid's gonna,
follow suit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because they're, at a very young age, tend to be molded,
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, too. I think it's all about exposure and I think it's all about the individual experience. Because if you look at it, little kids back then always had, birthday parties where they would have a clown, or they'd have a clown come and, do the balloons and, try to entertain the kids. So we were always, exposed to clowns in person. But then you have to look at the kids that didn't have that saw, horror movies or, even cartoons. And, hell, McDonald's. You had Ronald McDonald. So I think it is a generation thing, and clowns have always been around, forever. They were the original entertainers, in theater and stuff like that. So I do think it is a generational type of thing. And even going back, our parents' generation had John Wayne Gacy, the serial killer who would dress up as Pogo the Clown. So you can only imagine how they felt growing up, that must have been really scary.
But here's the thing about that, and I think the thing about John Wayne Gacy is that he dressed up as a clown, but there is no evidence indicating that he killed any of his victims while he was in his clown outfit.
Well, but
that's the whole thing.
I get that.
He was such a normal guy.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, but there's just really no evidence. And so sometimes, his actions as a man kind of reflects his action as a clown, you know what I mean, as an artist. So you can't separate the man from the artist. I understand that, but I'm just saying, I think that's just a big misconception. Just because he happened to be a serial killer, or the clowns all of a sudden get a bad rap because he was a serial killer.
Right.
That makes sense. That's what I'm trying to say.
Night and day kind of thing.
So, the very first evil clown dated all the way back to Edgar Allan Poe. And it was a short story called Hot Frog. And it was about a dwarf who was a clown who was abused by his king. And one night, the king got the dwarf so drunk that he couldn't do anything about it, and his girlfriend was there, and the king smacked his girlfriend in front of him, and the dwarf said he'll get him back. And he dressed up as a clown, and then he said he got the kings and the king's men, dressed them up as orangutans, and he got them hanging up on the chandeliers, and he set them on fire while he was in a clown outfit.
That's crazy.
And then you can even go back to Pagliacci.
Yeah.
That's Hot Frog and Pagliacci are the two first publicized clowns that were evil but ambiguous at the same time.
Well, actually, if you look back at the court jester clown types, they were kind of more on the dark side, I think, than.
But they weren't specifically dark. They were ambiguous characters, though. They were. Yeah. They weren't light or dark. They were just ambiguous. It was up to you to make that decision.
Yeah, a lot of them were tricksters too.
Right, and they were. I was reading. I need to look it up again, but sometimes they had them at funerals where they would make fun of the person that died. It wasn't necessarily to cheer you up. It was they were made to, it was kind of dark, they would poke fun. It was like being roasted or something. It was more of a roast than making balloon animals.
Right.
And so...
And even mimes, too.
Mimes, yeah, they're scary in their own right.
They could trap you in a box. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, that's true. And
Don't put me in a box.
And they can hit you over the head with an invisible hammer, so be careful on that.
Right? You gotta watch out for those ones.
Stab you with an invisible machete. Where you pretend you bleed to death.
But the interesting about Pagliacci, though, back to that, is that he wasn't in clown character the whole entire time. It wasn't up until the very last moment where he killed his wife and her lover, and then that's when he was in clown. That was when he was in full clown makeup, and so he started to serenade the crowd after he committed this heinous crime. And you know, to me, that was the earliest. Those are the two earliest evil clowns that were, you know, publicized. That's what I was getting at. It's like those were the very two that kind of started like, oh, okay. But they were just ambiguous enough where you can kind of separate the two. It wasn't until you get to the 1940s, and then you have the most infamous supervillain of all time created. And that's the Joker.
That's right.
His very first appearance in Batman 1 was supposed to be a one-off, but due to the popularity of the character, they brought him back. And they switched the panel at the very last minute where the Joker is supposed to be dead, but they said, we want to bring this character back. So instead of having him dead, they made a panel where he was alive still. And then the Joker just kind of took on its own life, and then he just became the most evil clown of all time.
Yeah, and his history is interesting. Did you ever see a film called The Man Who Laughs that came out in 1928?
No, but I've seen the picture of the dude.
It's a really good film. It has one of my favorite German actors, Konrad Veidt, and he was the original Joker because the Joker illustration mimicked his look, and his whole story was very sad. They carved a permanent smile onto his face. So even when he's suffering and going through all these hard things that are happening in the film, he's got that crazy smile on his face that he can't control or get rid of. So if you look at if you just Google The Man Who Laughs and you go to images, you can see that the Joker totally inspired from that look.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that is a really good film. I do highly recommend it. It's a very, very great film.
I believe that's on YouTube at the moment.
Yeah, it's crazy. He looks so sinister and menacing, you know?
Let's see. There was another... So, with the death of Bozo the Clown of last year, you know, kind of the good clowns have been overshadowed by these creepy clowns and evil clowns. Bozo was someone that was a really lighthearted person, and he just wanted to entertain people. Yeah. And with now you have this, you know, foundation gone now. Now you have all these other people exploiting the clown thing, you know what I mean? Right. And they're not using it to heal people. Clown is supposed to be used to create laughter, create you know, supposed to help you heal. But people are taking that and taking it to a whole nother direction. And I feel that a lot of clowns now, they're suffering because of it. They lose jobs. They, you know, one of the biggest clown colleges closed down because people didn't want clowns anymore. The Ronald McDonald Regional, which they hire clowns from different regions around the country, shut down last year because no one wants to hire clowns because everyone's afraid of them. And clowns
I always thought clown college was a myth, but that's a real thing.
That's a real thing, yeah. Oh, that's a real thing.
Clown college.
There's a.
Isn't that funny?
Well, I mean, it closed in 1997, and that was the biggest clown college of all. And that's what
Where was it located?
Maryland.
Oh my god, I just find that hilarious. Clown University.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a joke. I mean...
It's not a joke.
Not a joke.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke, folks.
Beep, beep.
And then also, what doesn't help is that this year, that the Ringling Brothers is the largest circus in the country is closing.
Good.
Actually closed this year.
Good.
Yeah.
Because they shouldn't abuse the animals like that.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. Good.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, clowns are losing because of that. You know what I mean? They lost jobs, and now they can't go to the hospitals anymore. There's a heartbreaking story from a clown, Manuela, or something like that. Hold on. Trisha Priscilla Mooseburger Manuel of Maple Lake, Minnesota, says, I've been told that I can't come to the hospital. You'll scare people. That was really heartbreaking. It diminished my income. The damage is done in so many respects that there's a whole generation that when they think of a clown, they think of something scary.
Yeah.
But she adds, people still love us in nursing homes.
Well, yeah, what was that Robin Williams movie? Is it Patch Adams?
Patch
Yeah.
Adams,
What was
yeah.
that movie?
Yeah, Patch Adams.
Where he's a clown and he tries to, like, help kids in the hospital and stuff.
Well,
but, you know, here's how you have to look at it. Look at all the money, though, clowns are now making at, like, horror haunts or horror movies, costumes. Like, they got it. I mean, they have jobs. They probably have more jobs and more money than the happier clowns did.
Yeah, but, you know, the thing is that when you take something that's supposed to be innocent, you twist it around, like Trisha was saying, it's just like you diminish what we're trying to do here. And it's like, you know, Claus is not supposed to make you feel scary. It's supposed to make you, like, feel joy. It's supposed to make you feel fun. And after reading about all this, like, over the past couple of weeks, like, I kind of feel sad for the clowns, like, honestly. I really do, because you know what? They're the ones that are suffering. They're the ones that people don't want to see at birthday parties. They don't want to see them at children's hospitals no more because they're afraid, you know? That's so fucking sad, you know what I mean?
It
Well,
is
maybe
sad. I mean, I feel
parents
like a
shouldn't
lot of
let-
things get exploited or they take a dark turn, and this happened to be one of them, you know?
Maybe parents shouldn't let their kids watch horror movies that are rated R with scary clowns. There's a solution.
Yeah. That's very true.
If it's having this massive effect.
But it's not even scary movies that even do this, though. It's not even
Yeah,
horror
but
movies.
Isn't that at the core of good horror is half the time where you can take something that seems innocent and make it scary
Exactly.
and
yeah.
and
This
push, push the envelope like that. I mean, part of the problem is maybe that kids are being allowed to see, you know, clowns in that form. So then, of course, they're going to go to a birthday party and they're going to think of it. They're not going to think of, you know, a balloon animal.
Right.
But some of the clown phobia is not related to kids seeing horror movies. Some is, but
I don't think
there's kids who said that they never saw. Like I read about one woman that she was there and she was asleep. She had fallen asleep on her parents' lap or something, and she woke up and the clown was being playful, but they like woke her up and they were in her face, and she ever since then had a huge fear of them, just given that circumstance for whatever reason.
So
yeah, it's not just movies, it's like experiences.
So David Cralin, author, playwright, and former clown with Ringling Brothers in Barnum and Bailey, which is the clown college, he was saying it's a relatively new phenomenon born from the counterculture of the 1960s and emerging as a popular force in the 1980s. There is no ancient fear of clowns, he said. It wasn't like there was a panic rippling through Madison Square Garden as I walked up through the seats. Not at all. Kralin said clowns were considered sweet and funny for 2 centuries until an inevitable backlash that included Stephen King's hit novel It, the film Poltergeist, Heath Ledger's white-faced maniac Joker, Krusty the Clown from The Simpsons, the shock band Insane Clown Posse, and Homie the Clown from A Living Color. Anything that gets much glorification and is sentimentalized within an inch of its life invites someone to snark at it. Said Kralin, who recently discovered the cover of the National Lampoon from 1979 with a girl cowering in fear of a malevolent clown. There's nothing in any available evidence that kids were afraid of clowns in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and the 70s. He said, who can say that about Red Skelton? So he's basically saying that through the 40s to the 70s, this fear was not a widespread thing. And Red Skelton, who was a national TV star and a clown on national TV, who was afraid of Red Skelton or Red Skeleton?
I'm sure. So here's what I'm thinking though, is if some of these stories, people say it is not tied to a horror movie, it's that they woke up and there was a clown in their face and they've been afraid ever since. There must have been some, because if they were little kids and they were never exposed to a horror movie and they fall asleep at a birthday party or whatever, or the circus or whatever, they're sitting on their parents' lap and they wake up and the clown wakes them up thinking they're being cute and funny and the kid freaks out, where does that come from?
Okay, so this is a counter argument by Benjamin Radford, an author and editor at the Skeptical Inquirer magazine, who literally wrote the book on the subject, 2016's Bad Clowns. Not to throw a pie in anyone's face, but he argues that evil clowns have always been among us. It's a mistake to ask when clowns turn bad because historically they were never really good. They always had this deep, ambiguous character about them. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. Sometimes they're making you laugh, other times they're laughing at your expense. Radford traces bad clowns all the way to ancient Greece and connects them to court jesters and Harley Quinn figures. He notes that Punch, an evil puppet who frequently smacks his partner Judy with a stick, made his first appearance in London in the 1500s. You have this mass-murdering, baby-killing clown that's beloved by Britons everywhere of all ages. Clowns in America have their roots in circus, and that they were first meant to amuse adults, but clowning history took a detour in the 1950s and 60s when the squeaky clean bozo Ronald McDonald became the quintessential American clowns for kids. So that's more my argument. I more lean towards that line of thinking,
me too. I agree.
I think that they kind of were dark in the like a little more darker or ambiguous as you might say, but I think that, you know, making fun of people and laughing at their expense is not necessarily fun, you know, like and cute and innocent, or it's sinister. Yeah I mean it definitely has a little bit of a dark bent, so I more lean towards that. And then again, the argument of kids who have not been exposed to horror movies and they have a fear of clowns for whatever reason. I would be interested in if they researched, like, I wonder if there's a certain common thread in the personality of the or some kind of something with the brain or something that makes people more afraid of clowns or that sort of character than anyone else. Because I'm not afraid of clowns. I don't see a clown and I don't feel anything. I think they're kind of annoying. And
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
the
even
thing,
see
too.
a
It's just,
clown
like,
in a
what
horror
type would
movie
be,
and
I don't
feel
know, what
anything.
type would be fearful of that?
I don't know. That's what I mean. I wonder if they analyzed all of them, if there was some kind of common thread in their personality, or I don't know. That's just what I was thinking and watching, different interviews and, little documentaries on it. That I wonder. Because some people seriously have panic attacks. But, people have phobias about so many weird things. Like, we were reading about other phobias, too. Like, there's a phobia of, like, antique furniture. Like, there's people... Yes! There is a phobia of... So, supposedly, Pamela Anderson, of all people, I think that's who it was, has a phobia of mirrors.
Oh, that's a common one.
And, so, by the way, Johnny Depp has a fear of clowns. P. Diddy, the rapper, has a fear of clowns, and there was one other person that they stated, a famous person. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to think. But and I think that Johnny Depp, he said it was just from childhood, like, and he's, how old is he?
He's like in his 50s, I think.
Yeah. So it would be like the 60s or so when he was a kid.
That's interesting that he has a fear, because he's kind of played characters similar to clown makeup. I mean, if you look at like Edward Scissorhands or a bunch of like the Tim Burton films he's done, even Alice in Wonderland.
He commented on that,
That's
but
weird.
I'm gonna have to look up the quote. But the quote sort of insinuated that it was therapeutic, something like that, to play those characters.
The people I know that are afraid of clowns, they all kind of have a similar personality. They're very sensitive.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I wonder if there's a maybe oversensitivity to not being able, like, maybe it is tied into not being able to read the facial expression clearly. So an oversensitivity about that, like an unsafe feeling of not being sure who you're dealing with. And, like, as a child, I wonder if they were, like, quiet, observant children. Like...
Yeah, that's to see
like,
if
where they
are
just
aware
sat there
of, like,
and
what's
watched
going on,
people.
if they're more aware of, like, their surroundings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but they do have similarities. Like, they're very sensitive. They love children. They love, like, they're very sensitive to children. So I wonder if something like that and those other types of personalities that have this phobia have that as well. I don't know. It'd be an interesting study, for sure.
They're all cancers. No, I'm kidding.
They are actually. Some of them are cancers.
They? For some reason, that was the sign I thought of. I don't know that many people afraid of clowns, but I do know some. And I would say they probably fall into that category too. Being really emotionally sensitive. They were probably pretty observant children that surveyed their surroundings. But yeah, I know a woman who even said that when I had a Halloween party that she didn't, to make sure that no one dressed up like a clown. Which of course prompted people to say, oh, well, looks like I'm going to be a clown this year.
Right? And it's interesting, a lot of places ban people dressing up as clowns now.
Yeah.
It's banned. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, that is kind of insane.
But yeah, I agree with what you were saying. I think it's not just films. I think it's definitely exposure and experiences that they've had. They maybe never even saw a clown in person, but they saw it in a comic book or a poster or painting or, something, and they just don't like that look, and that look really terrifies them.
Yeah.
So I do think it's an individual experience, and I definitely think people had it way back in the day, but it wasn't, such a widespread mania like it is today.
So, back, like earlier I was talking about it and how that scared all of us as kids. Mm-hmm. And I think that miniseries did have an effect on a generation of kids. And a lot of those people that I still know that watched that as a kid, they're still afraid of clowns. I've seen clowns before the movie It. I had watched the movie Clown House before It. And I wasn't scared of clowns with that movie for whatever reason. But I've actually seen live action clowns, because I actually my nana, she actually had clowns to come over for birthday parties for us, and all the foster kids, she would hire clowns, and our tata would dress up as a clown too, and he would start doing stuff. And it's funny too, because he wouldn't put on the grease paint or nothing. He would just come out there with a cigarette and just like try to do balloons and shit with the little red nose. It was hilarious. And
real clown.
And so, that didn't freak me out. I didn't have, like, this fear of clowns, But it wasn't until I saw that. I don't know what it was about Stephen King's It that made me afraid of a clown. But I'm not afraid of all... I'm not afraid of all clowns. I'm just afraid of that particular clown. Like, if I see someone dressed up just like that old school Pennywise, I kind of, like... freeze a little bit, but I have to think no, it's fine, it's nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, but in the first few minutes of the movie, he killed a kid.
Yes,
I mean that, of course.
I know, but I'm saying though that freaked me out. But later in life, that fear kind of started going away. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I'm sure that happened with a lot of adults.
But my friend is still afraid of clowns to this day because he saw that fucking movie. You know what I mean?
Cancer? No, I'm joking.
He saw that movie and he fucking flipped the fuck out. You know what I mean? He just had bad nightmares about it, and he will not even talk about the movie.
You know what's interesting about Pennywise though is it's not just him as the clown. I wonder if it's more of a psychological thing, because he takes on what you fear. Mm-hmm. He knows your fear. He's kind of like Freddy Krueger in that way. So I wonder if there's like a psychological thing behind that, where it's not just his look, but he knows he can get inside your mind and know your fear and show you your fear. So I wonder if that has anything to do with it. So
you want to hear something that's fucked up? So when I was a kid, my mom used to work at the Hallmark store. And so one year, my nana got me and a couple of the other kids to go to the Hallmark store. The Easter Bunny was there. And we were like, okay, we're going to get free candy and get baskets and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. But it was so weird because this giant fucking rabbit makes a beeline straight for me. Just makes a beeline straight for me. And picks me up and hugs me. I'm like, what the fuck? And I start bawling.
That's creepy.
And I look at my nana. She's not doing anything. She's just like, okay. Like, what do you want me to do? And so, I'll show you the picture. I'll show you guys the picture. There's actually a picture of me on the Easter Bunny's lap, crying. Just fucking bawling, right? No, here's the punchline, though. So, after, the bunny realizes that I'm crying and not laughing, it takes off its mask, and it's my mom.
Oh, my God.
And so, and ever since then, I am afraid of giant rabbits.
So that story makes me think of something. Is the same exact thing, if you think about it. The same thing has been done with the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus.
Yeah,
there is lots of movies with killer Santa Clauses. There is movies and shorts with killer people in an Easter Bunny suit. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's any Easter Bunny phobias or Santa Claus phobias. And
there is.
there's plenty
sure there is.
of pictures of little kids crying because they don't want to sit. They think Santa Claus is scary.
Yeah.
Why is that? So that, and nobody's banning. Why? I am sure if we looked into it that there would be a fair amount of what is the name of the phobia, the Santa Claus phobia?
I'd have to look that up. Let me look it up. But I wonder too if because it's holidays and tradition and there's religion behind it. I wonder if that has anything to do with
it
why
protects it a little bit.
Why they're not banned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, Santa Claus is this holy figure, apparently. And so when Silent Night came out, they fucking banned that. You know what I mean?
There is no Santa Claus, kids, by the way. Spoiler
all
alert.
Spoiler alert. Is Santaphobia or Clausophobia.
Clausophobia.
And so, Santa's not Killer Santas are not exceptions to the rule because some Killer Santa movies have been banned. You know what I mean? And have been taken off.
Yeah, but the costume hasn't been banned.
No, the costume hasn't been banned, but I'm saying Killer Santa movies have been banned. That's what I'm saying. And I think with the clowns, it's more of an institution than anything else because clowns is an actual occupation. It's an actual entertainer. That's what it is.
I think that they ban clowns from certain places is because it's Halloween and people are drinking and stuff and it causes panic and they don't want to deal with the panic. Because you're going to have more people in clown costume than Santa Claus costume at a Halloween, event for adults or whatever. So that's probably why they ban them, is because they don't want to deal with the panic it might cause. Or the money they might lose at an event because people are leaving.
Yeah, that's very true.
So here I found the Johnny Depp talking about his is it Coulrophobia? C-O-U?
Coulrophobia?
Coulrophobia? I don't know. He says, there always seems to be a darkness lurking under the surface, a potential for real evil. I guess I am afraid of them because it's impossible, thanks to their painted-on smiles, to distinguish if they are happy or if they are about to bite your face off.
Wow.
But what makes it all strange is how Johnny Depp deals with his fears, adorning his home with clown paraphernalia in an effort to ward off all the evil.
Wow.
So, which is actually very smart. That's how, whenever I have had a discomfort or anxiety or fear of something, that's how I always deal with it, is I force myself to either do it or, I surround myself with it. And that's always how, since I was younger, how I've dealt with anything that's made me uncomfortable. So I think that's, if you can do that, then you should.
So here's a comment from Aaron Kane. I saw the It miniseries as a 5-year-old up to that point. I had no fear of clowns. My cousin thought it would be funny for me to watch my reaction to a horror movie. I cried and I had nightmares for at least a week. To this day, I still get unnerved by clowns. I do watch the occasional scary clown movie, like the It remake or Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I feel like I'm facing my fears in a controlled situation. If I see a clown out and about, I avoid it like the plague. This is my dad. This is my dad has his fear too. He has hated clowns ever since he was a kid, or I was a kid rather. And that's from Aaron Kane from the Joe Bomb Mutant Collective group. And that's one of those things. That's a kid that's in our generation that saw that movie and really, really fucked him up. And here's another one. Huh?
I wonder if the new It will give people that same feeling. The new Pennywise compared to the old Pennywise.
That's gonna be. We're definitely gonna talk about that in our review because what I want to do is I want to compare both of those performances side by side. Because I don't think Skarsgård is as charismatic as he should be in that role. But I haven't seen the second one yet, so I need to see the second one. This is from Jamie Vaudrin. My fear of clowns started at the rodeo when I was 2. I thought that calf roping meant that they could rope any baby, and I thought the rodeo clowns were there to trick me into getting roped.
Wow.
Okay, and then here's another one. And I'll read a few more after we have this discussion. But here's one from Ginger Corell. So I am super scared of clowns. I have been since I can remember. Mimes too. I had one particularly awful experience where at school they were doing our booster shots. I don't think they do that in schools anymore, thankfully. And I am super freaked out by shots. The school nurse decided to dress up as a clown to do the shots. I was losing my shit. They had me go last so they could get through the other kids. When it was my turn, the nurse came at me with the needle and honked her damn nose. And I just started thrashing. I was 5. The needle ended up breaking off in my arm, and it was a whole big thing. After that, clown thing went from being something that creeped me out to a full-blown legitimate fear. Now I have a panic attack every time I'm around an actual clown. It's ridiculous, and I hate it because it sounds so dumb, but that just really scared the shit out of me. Yeah, that was scared.
I'm curious if she has a fear of needles now too. Seriously, I would fear needles more than clowns if it broke off in my arm.
That is fucking insane.
That's me out.
You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, like seriously,
That's
like
dramatic.
You know, and I understand where the nurse is coming from. Like, you're trying to, like, you know, get this kid to stand still, and you think, like, honking your fucking nose is gonna make them, you know...
It probably worked with half the kids.
Yeah, and that's probably why she did. That's probably why the nurse did it.
My question is, why is she... If the kid's thrashing, why are they still trying to give him the shot? It's a needle. That doesn't make sense to me.
That's really traumatizing.
Yeah, and so it's like, dude... And that just goes to the thing, like, you know, how clowns are introduced to you as a kid. And that would shape you. And she's 5, and this is the perfect time for her mind to actually get molded. You know what I mean? Her mind right now is, like, at 5 years old, your mind is a sponge.
For sure.
So you're absorbing, and you're just molding it. And after an incident like that, that's gonna carry with you. Fuck.
That's gonna stay with you for sure.
By the way, it's Harry Potter that also has a fear of clowns.
Daniel Radcliffe?
Daniel Radcliffe, yeah.
Wow. What about the people that, like, have a clown obsession?
Huh. What is that called?
Juggalos.
I don't know. I mean, because there are people that love clowns. There's even, like, clown porn. Like, there's a bunch of weird stuff out there.
Here's a really.
What about clown fetishes?
Here's a funny one that I thought this was pretty fucking hilarious. This is from Stommy Jones. ICP helped me a lot with my fear of clowns. Sadly, they did nothing for my fear of crappy music. That's fucking hilarious. I got a few more that I'm going to read toward off the end of the show, but there's another one here. There's another story that I want to go into in a little bit, but I want to lead into this, though. Why is it that horror movies can't get clowns right?
Well, there's a lot of bad ones out there.
A majority of clown movies fucking suck.
Which ones exactly are you talking about?
A lot of them. I've seen a lot, and I think a lot of the clown movies, they get everything wrong. They just think that, oh, the clown, that's it. That's what's supposed to freak you out. You know what I mean? But it's the performance what makes the clown supposed to be frightening. And yet a lot of those movies don't let the performance breathe.
There's a lot of them out there too. Like there's too many.
Yeah, you know, and I think a couple of them actually done like really good job at is Clown House, It, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and I think it's Stitches? That's the one with the dude that...
I didn't like Stitches.
I didn't like it either, but I thought it was a very good... That's the one where he turns into a clown, right? When he puts on the wig and turns into a clown?
No, that's... Are you talking about Eli Roth's Clown?
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, Clown.
Yeah, that was actually decent. That was a cool, that was a cool idea.
That right there, I feel like those movies kind of get that character right in
You're
some
forgetting
aspects.
one.
Which one?
Hello? Terrifier.
Okay, so the verdict's still out on him just because the sequel is coming out. So
No, how dare you?
Yeah, the sequel...
How dare you?
I mean, Art the Clown right now is someone that's gonna be, is gonna be up there, for sure. But that sequel is a movie that's gonna be a testament to how well his performance is gonna hold up.
Oh, it'll hold up.
You know what I mean? Because Art the Clown wasn't Art the Clown in All Hallows Eve. Those were two different people.
Yeah, I know.
So, we need to see one more from David Howard Thornton to see if that performance was a fluke or if that's just how he is. You know what I mean?
That's just how he is.
That's just how he is. And
Come
I'm
on.
sure he won't disappoint.
Seeing him, meeting him in person.
Yeah. But, I just think that second one needs to come out so we can see where he takes that character. You know what I mean?
Even the original actor though that played him was good too. Like that was a really sinister clown.
Yeah.
And I think he did a really good job.
Yeah, I think so too. And so like, why is it like clown movies, like horror movies about clowns can't get them right? Like, why?
Did you see a film called Amusement?
No, I didn't see it. I think that was an After Dark release, and I was like, nope, I'm not gonna watch that.
The guy that's in it did a really good job, and there's creepy clown. There's like a couple creepy clown sections in there that I thought they did a good job. That came out 2008.
I think I know what movie you're talking about. It's not an After Dark movie. I think I've seen the cover. It's like the amusement has like lights, right? Like there's light bulbs in the lights or whatever.
I think so. It's been a while since I've seen the cover. Hang on. Amusement 2008. So it's like a clown, and then above it, it looks like a sign that's slanted that says amusement.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think it's After Dark, but it came out 2008. Hero O'Donnell's in it. He's the one that's in I'm Just Fucking With You. He's a good actor. But that had some decent stuff. And then Poltergeist, I think, did a really good job with Creepy Clown. And yeah, I'm trying to think of like some other ones. Twisty from American Horror Story, I thought did a good.
But he wasn't even in it all that much. Though. He was like in it for like 2 episodes, and they killed him off.
Yeah, but his performance though was really good.
Yeah.
And it's they make costumes out of it now. Like he's like famous now, Twisty the Clown. Like he's got a huge following. There is a film I'm trying to find, and I had no idea it existed. It has John Candy in it. And I believe it's called The Clown Murders, and that came out in 1976.
What?
Yeah, practical jokers kidnap a buddy's wife from a Halloween party, but it gets out of hand. John Candy, Stephen Young, Lawrence Dane. It came out September 17th, 1976. That is one I'm trying to watch because it does look.
John Candy in a dark role. Who would have thought?
I think he's done other. I'm gonna have to look it up, but I think he's not only done comedy.
I've only seen him in comedies. I've never seen him in a dark role before. I mean, I don't count Nothing But Trouble, but that's like a whole nother thing.
Hey, Ginger Snap, I have a question for you. Do you think Skarsgård has done more for clown phobias or clown fetishes?
Clown fetishes. there's a don't ask me how I know this, but there's a Pennywise porn.
Is there really?
Yeah.
How do I not know about this? Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
What else is red? What else is red and bulbous? That sounded so gross.
Man.
It's terrible. Oh my god.
Can we talk about like the sightings, the mania surrounding sightings?
Yeah. No. I was leading into that, but yeah. Go ahead. Before you get into that, let me. Because this is like a really good segue, and then it goes right into the so this is from Ray Melve. I know some people have a legitimate phobia. I think a lot of people have a mild fear of clowns from horror movies. Turning something that's supposed to be wholesome and safe and fun into a nightmare has been in the tool bag for so many horror directors. I feel like clowns used to be as safe as you can be. Does anyone know when Coulrophobia first appeared? I was personally a huge fan of the random clown movement recently until they started attacking people. I was so on board to get a clown costume and hang out beside a rural road between 2 and 4 a.m. So this dude right here would dress up as a clown and just scare the shit out of you. But, going on to the sightings, I remember when those popped up, 2 years ago?
So I want to talk about that first. So 2016, the clown sightings became really popular, and that time I think it started in Southern Carolina. It was in the middle of August, and there were reports that clowns were lurking in the woods outside of the town of Greenville. And one woman actually filed a report to the sheriff because her son saw clowns in the woods whispering and making strange noises. More followed that year. A man in Kentucky was arrested for dressing up as a clown and hiding in the woods. In Alabama, a woman called 911 because she was terrified after seeing a man dressed like a clown in a Walmart parking lot. Schools in Ohio were closed. A clown in New York chased a teen out of the subway. There were more sightings in California, Texas, Florida, Colorado, and more. And I feel like all of that brought a lot of media attention with clown sightings. And I think there were no kidnappings or deaths, but I think they were just trying to get a scare out of people.
Well, I think
there's theories on why this was happening. They think a lot of it was promoting the new It film.
But the thing is, when that happened, it happened 2 weeks after the movie came out, though. That's when those sightings started popping up, and so these were
popping up before.
Yeah, but it didn't really take traction until September, because then that's when you had a lot more people started doing it again.
Well, the ones in Greenville, too, there wasn't only one incident of the clowns trying to lure kids into the woods. There was there was quite a few of them. And they were actually talking to the kids and trying to get them to go into the woods. And it was just kids, from what I understand.
Yeah, it was just kids. One person did die though, but it was a guy that was in a clown mask and who was stabbed.
We had a clown sighting here too. A guy on the highway over here. This was a couple of years ago, around the time all that was happening. People were driving. I'm gonna have to look it up, but
I think it was Madonna Inn. And
was it over there?
Yeah, there was a few people on my friends list that posted and said, "Oh shit, there's a fucking clown hiking up 152 right now." It's like, whoa, and he's just standing there waiting.
But I'm sure that
that's awesome.
The majority of them are people with clown masks that want to be a part of the, they're like, let's push the envelope a little bit. Here's the way. They want to join in the fun, so to speak, of the clown sightings.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's
the police department said that there's 2 types of clown panic groups. One group are called stalker clowns, or prankish and menacing figures who may turn up in parking lots, parks, or who turn out to actually have been someone dressing up as a clown, either as a stunt or publicity. And then there are phantom clowns who are often reported as seen by children trying to lure or abduct them, often near wooded areas. Most of these sightings are just publicity stunts or copycats to get on the news. This was not the first year of clown sightings, though. It actually reports all the way back to 1981. And I didn't know this until after, like, doing some research. But there's a website called slate.com, and there's a huge article on there about all the clown sightings that were in America since 1981. The first one was in May, and it was in Massachusetts. And there was a place called Lawrence Elementary where children reported 2 clowns driving a black van offering them candy. School principals warned about the clown threat, leading to a rash of reported sightings across Boston. But no clowns were ever found. More came out that year. Another place was Missouri. More school reports saying that clowns were jumping out of bushes or trying to lure kids. Another one was in Pennsylvania. Then you move on to, like, 1988, happened in Kentucky. And then 1991 in Erie, Pennsylvania, more than 40 children and some of their parents reported clown prowling area backyards and looking through windows. A local bank is robbed by a man in a clown suit, but police dismissed him as a copycat clown. So it got popular again in 1991, and I'm thinking that's because that's the year it came out, right?
1990.
Doesn't it seem, though, that some of those cases are not that they're trying to be creepy clowns, but that they're actually trying to play on the idea that a clown is inviting to a child? Like they're the actual child molesters, like they're trying to give them candy and lure them into the woods, like they're trying to play off the idea that kids might feel safe seeing the clown as opposed to scared.
Yeah, a lot of these, they could have been, they could have been, like, child predators for sure. A lot of them are just, they're trying to, like, terrorize local children. No one was, like, hurt. No child was abducted or hurt, though. But there were, like, kidnap attempts.
Yeah.
1992, 1994, and 1997. And then, I guess in 2008, exactly 17 years after another clown incident, Chicago is again visited by a mysterious child-luring clown. They're always reported driving like a white or brown van. And then it happened in 2014 in Indiana. A local resident got a picture of a creepy clown that starts appearing around town. This one doesn't have a van. He's just holding balloons. Do you remember that one in 2014?
What? No.
That image of that clown?
Is that the one, the dude that was on the side of the road? Like, where, like...
Yeah, he's like...
Where it's at night?
And then I think under, like, a gazebo.
Oh... Okay, I've seen that picture. I thought it was fake.
No, I mean, it was just... I'm sure the guy was just messing with people. But no, he was, like, out wandering.
What color were the balloons?
2016, Greenville, South Carolina, a huge wave of clown sightings begins. And I think this is what prompted the movie Gags that just came out. Because that's where it takes place. And I saw Gags. I got to see it. And it wasn't what I was expecting, to be honest.
Why?
I was expecting it to be more about, like, the clown, but it's kind of like what happens in the town with everyone who sees him. That's kind of the route they went with that one.
Huh.
So, in Switzerland, you can actually rent an evil birthday clown for a fee. And this actor by the name of Dominic DeVille rents himself as an evil birthday clown who leaves scary notes for children warning that they will be watched and they will be soon attacked. At the end of the week, your child will be indeed attacked. DeVille, wearing a freaky clown mask, will smash a cake into your child's face.
Wow.
And he says that he will be, like, so he does it throughout the week. but he backs off if the parents tell him to back off. And this was from 2012, and so I don't know if he's still doing this or not, but, you know, that could be all bad. You know what I mean? You could just...
Switzerland, you were saying?
Yeah, Switzerland. And then in Canada, they also did the same thing, where you can rent clowns to stalk people.
That's awesome. I would totally sign up. How is that legal, though?
That's what I was just gonna say.
You know, the thing is that...
I mean, isn't that considered harassment?
Well, cops can't do anything about harassment, and they can't do anything about stalking either. They'll just say, oh, well, whatever, get a RO. That's all they'll tell you.
You can't harass people.
Yeah.
No, but there's not against the law either. They can't arrest them.
Well, I think... I don't know. That needs to be looked up. I wonder... There has to be... Maybe not that in particular, but I don't think you can legally harass people. Like, sexual harassment is against the law. Like, there's
I get it, but I'm saying that, like, you know, stalking and harassing without physically touching someone, the cops really can't do anything.
Or without threats.
Without threats, yeah.
You know what I mean? They really can't do anything. It's just like, oh well, you know? And that's what happens with a majority of stalking cases, too. And that's why a lot of the time the stalkers usually don't get arrested till they actually commit the crime, not before. And it sucks.
Harassment is both a criminal offense and a civil action under the Protection from Harassment Act of 1997. This means that someone can be prosecuted in a criminal courts if they harass you. It also means you can take action against the person in civil courts. I mean, I'm sure there's details that, you know, are iffy, but, like learning those details, watching, oh my gosh, my brain just, Robert De Niro movie, Cape Fear. I mean, he harassed them, but he got around the law.
Yeah. Just that. But, you know, that's the thing, and I think, you know, that's Switzerland, and their laws are different from U.S. laws, too, so it's another country, so, you know, to them, it might be all in fun, you know what I mean? They might embrace that shit over there. They might think, oh, this is just fun and games.
Right.
So to them, it won't be a big of a deal. Had this happened in America, then it'd be a big fucking deal. It's like, oh my god, this creepy clown, blah, 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 blah. Like, oh shit. I'm like, I don't want a fucking creepy clown fucking harassing me. But, you know,
I'm sure if they're smart and they have this service, they should have researched the law and figured out, not that I think it's cool to harass people, but I'm sure that they know the law and figured out a way around it where you could do it, you know, have the service and not get in trouble for it.
But it's like those, it'd be like those blackout experience or those haunts where you go in, and besides if the kid's a minor, the parents can sign off on it, you know? So, there's that too.
I have like a little story about something that happened to me involving a clown.
Because it's all about you, huh, Elysa?
It's when you met.
What?
It's when you met the boogeyman.
The boogeyman. Oh, that's another thing I forgot too, is to mention Halloween, because Michael Myers dresses up as a clown. Totally forgot to mention that right away.
Oh yeah.
So, your story?
Yeah, so my story, how old was I at the time? I think I was like 14. I was 14, and I was living in LA, and me and my friend went to one of those haunted house attractions, and it was like a big one. They had, it was by a mall, they had like a huge parking lot, and it was the one where they had like vendors and stuff, so like as you walk in, there's a bunch of like different vendor booths. So we were just like hanging out, walking around, and this one lady, I guess they were doing some kind of charity thing. If you bought like all these raffle tickets, it goes to a charity thing. So the lady that was working there was trying to lure me in to buy these like charity tickets, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go in there, you know, because I was with my friend who's like a big scaredy cat, and she's like, don't worry, I work here. The guys won't bother you, because meanwhile, where you're walking in, where the vendor booths are, they have like, you know, creepy people in costumes trying to scare you. So I was like, oh, I don't know. She's like, don't worry, they won't bother you. Don't worry. So I was like, okay. So I'm like walking in with her, and there's like creepy guys trying to scare me, and I'm just kind of like trying not to pay attention. So I buy the tickets, and then I just decide to like, you know, go back to my friend out where the parking lot is. And this one dude is dressed up in a creepy clown costume with like a weird like shovel thing. And as he hits the ground with the shovel, it like makes like this creepy noise, like he's gonna attack you with it, but he, you know, you don't, because he's just an actor. Or was he? I don't know. So we're like walking out, leaving in the parking lot, and he's following us. And he's not saying a word. He's not laughing. He's, you know, he's just very quiet. Not even animated, because a lot of clowns usually are very animated and hyper. He was just very calm, kept following us, and he followed us, like, no joke, all the way out past the parking lot onto the street. And in my mind, I'm thinking, no one else is getting followed. Like, what is going on here? So I don't know what that was about. I don't know if it was literally him just trying to mess with me personally, because like I said, I didn't see any characters follow anyone else out. So I don't know, but that was very creepy.
That is creepy. That's really scary, because that could have gone wrong in so many ways.
Yeah, I don't know, because you hear all these stories like, oh, what if it's someone that doesn't work there and they like try to stab you or something, you know? So, and I was only 14.
You know,
I don't know.
Here are a couple of people that actually think that this clown phobia is actually not what it seems. So this is from Derek Lawrence. Absolutely overblown. It's just cool to be afraid of clowns these days.
Huh.
I can tell you that this is from Nicholas Reichart. I can tell you it's a modern phenomenon. They were seen as only innocent until horror films started incorporating them as baddies. And this is from Lauren Cloudley Woodley. It's definitely overdone in my opinion, but that's what horror directors like to do. Play off fears of people. I mean, I'm claustrophobic and my chest constricts when I even see people in tight spaces in movies. I panic for them. But yeah, the clown thing is definitely overdone though. So that leads to my last question. Is this clown phobia bullshit? Is it bullshit?
I don't think it's bullshit. I do think there are people that have severe cases of it, and like I mentioned earlier, they have to get therapy for it. That's pretty hardcore, like to get behavioral therapy or relaxation therapy, and a lot of them suffer similar to claustrophobia people. They have panic attacks, you know, chest pains, nausea, shaking. So, again, I don't think everyone that's afraid of clowns goes through this, but I do think there are more severe cases for sure. I don't think it's fake at all.
So, like, how you have a fear of sharks, you know, how anyone else, they would laugh at that. But then, you know, that's something, the way you feel about sharks is how these people feel about clowns. And so, so you can, like, relate to that on that matter, right? It's like,
absolutely.
Like I understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, it's a very severe thing, and I don't know if like some people do exposure therapy, but I don't think that works for everybody. I think it's just there's some things you can't control, and I think you can get help, but I don't know. Can a fear ever really go away? You know,
it can if you face it. But
I ain't going in a fucking shark cage.
I wasn't literally talking about that.
That's the next episode.
I'm just saying that, you know, there is ways to conquer your fears.
Meters down.
You know, there are ways to conquer your fears. It's just are you willing to make the steps to do it? You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know if it's...
It is willing because you have to be willing to face it.
Well, yeah, but I mean, saying "Are you willing?" It seems unfair.
But okay, maybe the phrase was wrong.
Everybody's on their own timeline. You know, when someone's ready to. I'm sure that anyone who has a fear that isn't rational, which is not an insult, irrational fear of something, is not happy living with it. I'm sure of that. So if they could easily conquer it just by going, today's the day, I'm going to do it, they would. I believe that. So I think it's less willing and more like timing of, I don't know what. Maybe they don't have a good support system in that area, and then one day they do, and they can get through it. I mean, everybody has the, different situations that...
Do you think it's a fake phobia, or do you believe in it?
I don't know, because it's, there are things that track and there are things that don't. I really do think that there are really good clowns out there, and I really do think that there are like legitimate entertainers out there that are trying to help you and help you laugh and have a good day, but there's just this group of people that want to twist it and make it into something that it's not. And
make it demented.
And so what they do is they blow it out proportion. Yes, the argument early on was that it was horror movies, but you take something innocent and you put it in a horror movie, and that's what horror is. But the difference is that when you do something in horror, it is fictional. They're usually fictional characters or caricatures, but when you put in like an institution like clowns into that seat, that's very real to some people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but isn't
but
that
that's also
horror
that's real to people, and that's also hurting the people that are employed for like circuses and fairs and festivals. You're taking money off of their plate.
I don't know. I think it'll run its course, just like anything. I don't think that it's...
Yeah, but I'm saying, though, like what I said earlier, the Ronald McDonald Regional terminated its program. That laid off over 1,000 clowns across the country. Barnum and Bailey closed down its doors. The largest circus in the country is closing because people don't want to see clowns.
That's not why. I don't think that's
because
why.
of animal abuse.
I think it's
part of the animal abuse is part of it. Yes.
And Ronald McDonald should have been gotten rid of a long time ago because he encourages kids to eat shitty food. Just saying. Eat your broccoli, kids, not your fries.
But, that's where I stand on the argument. Whether I'm right or wrong is just my opinion and the way how I see things. I just see that it's hurting people that are trying to make a living. That's what I'm coming from at it.
You're going to start a clown support
Jesus.
Well, what if those people, ended up working at, scary clown stuff instead?
If they did, then that's fine, you know what I mean? But you have, people that are outraged by this, you know what I mean?
I honestly don't...
There's that fucking clown movement trying to, say, hey, we don't want this stigma. And there's a portion of, last year when it came out, they had a free admission, a free screening of it for people that dress for all clowns in San Francisco. Yeah. And they're doing it again this week for all clowns at the Animal Draft House, and say, if you're a clown, come on in. You know what I mean? You get a free screening of it. And so I think that's a way of trying to make it up to them. But, damage is already done, though. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's unfair to people that are actually putting in the work to do this. You know what I mean? That's where I'm coming from. I just think it's unfair.
Well, what's your solution then?
I don't have a solution.
I don't understand.
I don't have a solution.
How is it unfair? It is what it is. To me, it's I don't know, maybe it's unfair, but it speaks of the success of a horror, what's what's the word I'm looking for? Formula. The success of a horror formula. That's what it is. It's super successful. So on the other side of that, it did its job.
Let's see, I got 3 more comments. From Jerry Mandring. I blame my aversion on that Barnum and Bailey bitch in the overalls who snuck up behind a 4-year-old, hopped up on sugar, and spooking me out of my skin. Pennywise just made them dreadful. Also, they don't cram themselves into tiny cars. They park over the sewer manholes. Just saying. That's funny. This is from Lauren Capriani Perkins. I also blame Barnum and Bailey asshole clowns who came into the audience. I was a little kid and it totally freaked me out. Then, when I was older, a clown on a roller skates chased me through the mall. So yeah, don't like clowns except Shakes. That guy's alright. And got 2 more. So, Brian Lee. I grew up in the 80s, and as a child from the age of 4 to 8, I would have a recurring nightmare on a weekly, monthly cadence of being kidnapped by a band of clowns. It would usually start out as you would hear them pull up in a 30 series Buick, and you would hear them aggressively laughing and stomping as they closed in, during which I would grow paralyzed with fear, and they would usually bind and gag me, then proceed to take me to a hotel, then tickle me in my genitals, then end it with suffocating me with a pillow.
Wait, what?
Jesus.
As a child, I was a little afraid, but the common fear now is nothing more than a cliche and a trend for young folks to act neurotic around their peers. And last one, Omari Bruja Gredley. Piggybacking off Matthew and Kelly, it was like a hot topic or a genre joke in the early mid-90s. Don't know which came first. But younger people tend to take jokes and play act on them too long and too hard till it's blown out of proportion. Most of the people who claim they fear clowns were performing, but I'm sure some people would actually be. So he thinks that it's blown out of proportion because people play too hard, but then, there are some people that are actually afraid of it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, yeah, this is, interesting. I just think, I don't know, like, clowns, I honestly don't know where I stand. Like, I literally have a best friend that is fucking afraid of clowns. So I see the kind of effect that it has on him. Mm-hmm. And then I know other people that just think it's bullshit. So I don't know. Like, I feel like Switzerland in this place, like, I'm neutral, Like, I can see both sides of this.
I don't see how you could call it bullshit. I mean, phobias are real things. People have phobias to the craziest stuff. I don't see how a clown phobia is any more unreasonable than, like, what were we reading last night? Nicole Kidman has a phobia of butterflies. My sister had a phobia of frogs. Like there's really random like the antique furniture one. Come on, that seems a little more unreasonable than the clown one.
Yeah, you can't really argue with someone if someone has a fear of something. Right?
Yeah,
there's no.
Like you don't have
it's not
any
your
say.
fear, so you don't understand what that person's
say.
going through. So you can't really argue against that.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair. Because you didn't live that person's, not you in particular, Jack, but I mean, people that say it's bullshit. I do think that sometimes people jump on trends, or they play up something for attention. I do think there's people that do that.
But in this age, though, in days of social media and all this, I feel like a lot of them do that, though.
Well, I can see how... And that's what I mean, but saying that the phobia itself...
Okay, maybe I'm not trying to say the phobia. Maybe I'm just saying there's like a group of people out there that are just playing up this phobia just for attention and likes and retweets.
I'm sure
That's what I'm getting
like
at.
that.
That's what I'm really trying to get at right there. And I feel like because of Twitter, Instagram, and all this shit that's trending.
So what you're saying is is it as widespread and as huge as it's made to seem?
Yeah.
Probably not. But
that's all I was trying to say. That's what I was really trying to get at, because that's right there seems like that's, I don't know, to me, you know, so you see all this shit on like Facebook and Instagram, how people are afraid. Like, can you really say, are they really afraid, or are they just doing it because, hey, I want the view?
A fear of something is also not necessarily a phobia.
Yeah, but if you're afraid of something, are you gonna go on your fucking phone and say, "Oh my god, I'm afraid of this"?
Like, if I saw Art the Clown, I probably would feel in an alleyway. I probably would feel a little fear.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, would you?
Phobia.
But I'm saying is,
I wouldn't.
but what I'm saying is, would you get on your fucking phone and tweet it at that moment? Is what I'm saying.
Well, I hardly post anything. I'm a Scorpio, remember? So no, I probably would not post it.
I have something else to add to that too. I think today's society over the last couple of years, because of all the shootings that have happened, and even if you look at the Colorado shooting where they claimed that the shooter at the movie theater, that he like dyed his hair like the Joker, you know, as he went in and shot all those people. I think a lot of people too have a fear of someone dressing up and acting out in society because of all the violence we've had. So I think that kind of plays a little factor in people being scared too.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
What is that quote on the Instagram? There's two kinds of people in this world. People who hate clowns and clowns. Although I can't remember who the quote's from.
Any final thoughts, Elysa?
I didn't hear anything you guys just said.
I wasn't saying anything. Any final thoughts?
Any final thoughts?
I said
I
something.
don't know if you guys responded to what I just said, so I don't know.
I wonder if your
I can't hear
sound
anything
is
she's
cutting
saying
out.
right
Uh,
I wonder if you're. I don't know. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? You talk to her.
Okay, well, that's about it. So you don't got it. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's all I got. You got anything?
I mean, no, I do think there is a phobia of it, and I do think that the media plays it up, people play it up to get, likes and controversy, but I think it'll just continue at this point. It's become popularized in America for sure, so I don't see it ending. I feel bad for the people that do have a horrible fear of clowns, though. I mean, that must not be fun at all, especially during Halloween.
Yeah, that's gotta suck. Alright, well, that's our show on Coulrophobia, the fear of clowns. We're doing this because of Chapter 2 coming out this week, and we'll be doing a review on that movie next week. So we're kind of gearing up for that show next week. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited for Chapter 2. I can't speak for Elysa, but I know I'm really stoked to see how this series ends.
Or is it ending? Because I've heard they might do another one.
Well, it's a spinoff, not an actual sequel.
We'll see. I'm looking forward to the adult cast. I like a lot of those actors, so I'm looking forward to seeing them.
All right. Well, that's our show for today, and we're gonna wrap it up. I am your host, the Boogeyman, Johnny Zuko,
and I'm your co-host, Ginger Snap.
And
I'm the voice that makes you moist, especially now.
Since she's got her own microphone now. All right.
No, because I have a cold, so my voice sounds even more sultry.
All right, and that's our show. Tune in next week when we come back with a review of It, Chapter 2. Till then, bumpers, boys and girls. Bye.
Bye.